All right. Welcome to the postgame news conference for Game 7 of the Credit Union 1 West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Championship. We have Oregon State with head coach Wayne Tinkle and student athletes Des White and Josiah Lake II. We will start with an opening statement from Coach.
Just our guys showed a lot of heart. We got a thing we talk about, church bells, and our guys put those on display to pull this one out against a. You wonder. People talk about, oh, it's a great job, you got to buy and da-da-da, but it's a big advantage for those teams that get a game in. And the first half, we couldn't hit our asses with either hand there for a while. But in the timeouts, we weren't panicking, and we said, hey, this is how they started yesterday. They got it going, just hang in there. And we got some huge step-ups from guys off the bench. Obviously, Dez, I thought Kez's minutes, Big Noah, plus 20 on the plus-minus. And those guys kind of gave us the jump start that we needed after such a poor start offensively from that initial group. And then back and forth in the second half, we built just enough of a lead, made free throws down the stretch to pull it out. Just super proud of these guys and their effort. And they're a very good team, San Francisco, and really well coached. So we knew it was going to go down to the wire. I have a ton of respect for those guys and how they do their deal. But the Beavs pulled it out, and we're moving on.
A reminder for those on Zoom to use the raise hand function, and you'll be able to unmute yourself to ask a question, but we'll go ahead and start with questions for the student athletes.
Jojo, walk us through timeout at 2:08. You guys are up by 5. Ball in your hands.
Did you like that play we drew up?
I was getting his perspective first. You stop short at the right. All right, ball makes it to Noah, makes it back to you. That obviously was not how it was drawn up. So what was drawn up from your perspective and what's going through your mind as you know the shot clock's going down, et cetera?
Yeah, we drew up just a ball screen into like a off-ball screen for Des. So, my job was just to turn the corner, read the action, see if I could get to the rim. If not, look for my teammates. And yeah, the ball kind of bobbled around between players, and it kind of just made its way back to me. And I didn't really have the best first half, but the coaches and my teammates told me to stay in it. So all props to them. Kept me in the game and kept me ready to go.
As we haven't talked to you in a while, obviously, but one, when did you first feel normal with the shoulder and good to go earlier this week? And two, just with what's gone on the last 10 days, how important was it for you to not just return to play for yourself, but for coach, for this team?
Yeah, it felt great to get back out there with my brothers and the coaching staff. Just all the trust they put into me, just be able to go out there and put it on the line for them. I started feeling better. I got in some practices this week, some contact practices. I did some individuals a little bit before that, and just having the confidence to knowing I'm gonna get hit and knowing that my shoulder will deal with it. But just, I would say I sped up the process just to get back out there with my brothers and be able to fight with them. And they put me in the positions tonight, and I'm just glad that I was able to be out there and contribute.
Josiah, can you talk about facing the Zags tomorrow?
Yeah, super excited to get to go against a great team like that again. Haven't really thought too much about it. Our focus was just on today. When you beat a team twice in the regular season, sometimes it could be tough the third time. Last year, I was a part of a team that was kind of in a similar situation, and we didn't quite get it done. So, this year I was, it was kind of a motivation, to not let this one slip. And I'm just super proud of our guys, our coaching staff, for just staying in it, staying together, and getting this one done.
Is there anything in particular you guys have to do real well to win tomorrow?
Just follow the coaching plan, trust the plan that they have put forward for us, and just execute to the best of our ability, and just keep fighting and keep our toughness and our hard hats on and come out ready to play.
Does in the situation that your guys' team, and it's easy you hear the moniker all the time, play for coach, how has that kind of manifested itself, especially in the game tonight?
We put it on full display. We just stick to the principles that he's been preaching to us all year and the way he runs his program, and just we're fighting for him, but we're also just fighting for the pride and the Beaver pride that he puts on display every day. So it's really just going out there and doing what he's preached to us all year.
Any other questions for the student athletes? All right, student athletes, you're free to go. Thank you.
Good job, boys.
We'll go ahead with questions for Coach. Reminder for those on Zoom to use the raise hand function, and we'll be able to unmute you.
So when you guys talked about Josiah's shot there, the three-pointer, but a couple minutes earlier, Yak hit a three, and I think he's hit one all year. Was that the Is that the play call, or
No.
what happened there?
We got mad at Yak in the first half. He was wide open at the top of the key, and he didn't even look at the rim. Yak can shoot the ball. I mean, he's hit one or two. I think he's hit two on the year, but he's only taken maybe 7. So it was no surprise. We told him, Yak, you're open, you have to shoot that. And that's one of his strengths. He just doesn't shoot them in bulk. So I know you saw the bench, they were excited for him, but he shoots them really well in 3. So does Noah. And we don't tell those guys they can't shoot. It's like if we see, well, there's maybe one guy, because he doesn't put in the time. If we see you shooting them before, after practice, doing it in practice and having success, I wish my college coaches let me shoot a little bit more.
There's no three-pointer.
There was after my sophomore year.
Monty would not have allowed you to do that.
No, Monty loved milking every bit of that 45-second shot clock, too.
What were you thinking when it was 11 zip and you guys were 0 for 6 and 5 turnovers?
Well, I'm going to be honest here. It's been a really emotional 10 days. And some really good friends and family that reached out, I just said, I'm worried about the emotions of the week and getting off to a slow start. Now, we didn't make it about me. We didn't. But we've got great kids. We had one of our coaches, I've never seen him crying in the locker room, several players tonight. So I was worried about that, and we tried really hard to make it about us, the team. This is when we play our best ball. Like, people that actually research like who I am and what our programs have done, when we have what we need, understand we play our best basketball this time of year. If anybody, I won't go off on that tangent, but we made it about this team and playing our ball, and the assistant coaches did a great job about, fellas, when you win in your conference tournament and you build momentum, some magical things will happen. It erases whatever frustrations you might have had early in the year, who's playing, who's not playing, how many shots, and what a great deal it is this time of year. And our guys really bought into that. But after that start, I liked how we were defending other than a couple of possessions. And we just kept saying, hey, let's just get stops. I remember our run in 21, we're down 17 in the first half to UCLA. And we were just missing a bunch of shots. We said, guys, second half, if we can get it to 10 by halftime, those shots will go in. And the neat thing was the guys were rallying for each other on the sideline in the timeouts. We got this. And, we've been through some situations like that this year, and it was just pleasant to see some guys come off the bench and give us that jolt that we needed, because we had some guys, quite frankly, that were a little flat. Maybe it was the nerves, the whole thing, but a couple guys, it was maybe their preparation this week. It's a tough time of year for teams that aren't first or second. You got a lot of knuckleheads out there pulling at these guys. I can get you this here, that there, coach, and unfortunately, it's guys listen to that. But it was neat that we were able to find a group that really laid it on the line for each other and for the program. And then in the locker room, we said, now the rest of you got to come back on page with us. And it's going to be take a yeoman's effort tomorrow. I know we've got you asked earlier about Gonzaga. We got to do a much better job. Actually follow the plan, because we didn't against them the first time. We let EK go nuts. But we're going to enjoy this for a little bit, and then we know we've got a really, really tough challenge against a talented team tomorrow.
Does winning, though, getting that first one, sort of free up your team a little bit for tomorrow?
For sure. There's nerves, San Francisco played last night. They were great in the second half. And so we've got this one under our belt. I think we grew together a little bit. We showed some real toughness. So, as tough as the challenges, again, I mean, they're so dialed into their stuff. Our guys are going to have a lot more confidence because we were able to pull this one out tonight.
Wayne, you mentioned Noah's efficiency. To go from DNP the last several weeks and entering this week not certain about some things, to have the contributions that he had and to have that kind of efficiency in a one-point game, what flipped for him tonight?
We talked about the postseason being a new season. Everybody starts fresh. You kept asking me, were there injuries? And it was my decision. He wasn't preparing or earning the right. And it wasn't, he's a great kid. He's a great kid. And I'll just say this, his focus wasn't there, because he's not, he's a worker. And I think the alarm went off. He kicked butt all week long. In fact, we almost started him tonight because of his practices this week. Coaches met, and I pulled JoJo aside, and I'm like, no, we're gonna go this way. And if we don't get a response, now we've got no, and everybody knows he earned it this week. And I was proud of him for stepping up that way.
Then, as you were walking off, and this wouldn't be new necessarily in March, Wayne, but with what's gone on the last 10 days, like you turned to the band, you let out some emotion there.
You know,
and not
what it was
everybody
all
who's
about,
winning this week.
It wasn't I'll show you any of that. It was the outpouring of support from Beaver Nation in the last 10 days has been unbelievable. The emails, texts, I got people, I hardly ever look at Messenger on Facebook, just lit up with Beaver fans. Going to be in Vegas, coach. I had a bunch of people from Montana come in, and it was just a thank you to them for, you know, all the great things that they said, and then a little bit to let them know we're not done. You know, we're not done. I'm proud of this group, and we're gonna keep battling for them. I can hear you.
Okay. You have had such a long and storied career, but coming into a day like today, I don't imagine you've been in this position before, so just what was it like for you to kind of have that kind of
Yeah, good question. There were a lot of emotions when I was by myself, but we had to make sure we made it about the team this week. It's all we've ever done, right? And we talk about being selfless and really doing what we do for the betterment of the group. So why would I make it about me, the individual, all of a sudden? You know, that would be so hypocritical. We've got enough of that in our society. So it was just, hey, we're going to move forward. Before the game, like, guys, we love each other so much. Why would we want this to be our last night? Let's keep this thing going. And so that was really the focus all week, not about any of the other stuff. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Santa Clara, those guys' batteries, they were drained emotionally. But to their credit, they really picked themselves up throughout the course of tonight's game and got back to where we need to be, to where we can advance now in this thing.
Just a reminder for those on Zoom to use the raise hand function if you have a question. Thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned containing Grant Mike tomorrow, but I think they got you guys pretty good in the paint, 50-10 the last game. What else kind of goes into that?
30-some, right?
35, I think. Yeah. What else goes into that challenge tomorrow?
Well, our ball screen coverage was horrendous, and they really exploited us. We missed traps when we were supposed to trap, switches when we were supposed to switch. And we were just letting him. They just were short rolling him to the nail, and he was picking us apart. So, getting back to the way we're supposed to guard those things and mixing it up on them a little bit. Doubles, when he got it on the block, we were supposed to monster him. We never did. And so just getting our guys a little more dialed into the game plan that we have to try to live it. He's really good, trying to limit his impact and make other guys maybe have to step up more than most nights when he's going to work.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
Good. I need to go get a cold beer. Thanks. Go Beavs.
Beer choice?
Hey, all right, welcome to Postgame News Conference for Game 7 of the Credit Union 1 West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Championship. We have San Francisco with head coach Chris Gurlifson, and then student athletes Tyrone Riley IV and Ryan Beasley. We'll go ahead and start with an opening statement from Coach.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge Coach Tinkle, his group. They've been in a tough situation, the last couple weeks, and have all the respect for Coach and what he's done for college basketball. So I'm super disappointed for my team, obviously, and the guys in my locker room and my staff. Not the ending we wanted. I thought it was a pretty darn good basketball game. A lot of momentum swings. I thought we got off to a great start and kind of punched them early, and to their credit, they responded. I thought the 3-ball, we've played them 3 times now, and that's been the separator in every game. And unfortunately, we let the most known guy on their scouting report from 3 go 6 of 8. And that's a separator in a game like this. So credit to him for stepping up and making it. But I still had great belief in our group that, as long as there was time left on the clock, that we were going to find a way to win. Just came up a little bit short. But a lot of respect for the guys sitting next to me. The work that they put in, they've been with me now for, multiple years, and appreciate them as people and as players and what they've done for our program. So.
A reminder for those on Zoom to use the raise hand function, and you'll be able to ask a question. Go ahead and start with questions for student athletes.
Yeah, Jeff Ferrado with the West Coast Conference. Ryan, talk about that start. I think you were up 11-0. They turned the ball over like crazy during that stretch. Was there any let up at that point? Did it all of a sudden seem like it was too easy?
Yeah, what Coach said, I think threes ignited them. We got a pretty big start, and then they seen a couple threes go in, and that gives them some confidence to get back in the game. So we didn't take away the knowns today. We didn't perform to the level we needed to, but we just got to deal with it at this point.
It looked like, though, you regrouped in the second half and battled pretty hard to get back in it when it started slipping away. Can you talk about the fight your team showed?
Yeah, this group's always going to have some fight. We don't really have any. We don't have any quitters on this team, but we knew we had to put some pressure on the ball. Early in the first half, we started getting going because we got some turnovers and got out and ran with our pressure on the ball. So we knew we had to start the second half that way.
Tyrone, it's a relatively young team in some regards. What's it look like going forward for you guys?
Obviously, we just want to regroup and then, come together, see what the future holds for us. If we have another chance to play, obviously that's what we want to do, especially for our seniors to end off on a good note. This is a salty taste for us, and I feel for the seniors that, this is the type of game that is their last game of college basketball, as much as it, hurts for me as well.
Ryan, Thomas, unofficial WCC podcast. Ryan, what was the hardest part about tracking Des White out there? And eventually, I see he kind of came off the bench in kind of more of a different role compared to some games this season.
Yeah, he's got a really deep range. He can shoot it from anywhere, but I think they run some good actions with the staggers and misdirection things they do, and their bigs really set some good screens. So they just have a pretty good offense, pretty hard to guard to get them off the line.
And then Tyrone, you guys early on playing with really good first half force. They brought in Ammenhauser to kind of bring in some more size. What was the hardest part about trying to find yourself offensively for that first bit of the second half?
I feel like I was forcing a little bit. I took a chunk of bad shots that kind of ignited their run, and my bad shots led to them getting some threes. That's kind of what set them off. Bad shots, we said it. Bad shots and turnovers kind of kick off their fast break, and they got us in transition quite a bit. And when we need to get them off the three-point line, they got them, and they got the 50-50 balls that we should have gotten as well, and that was a factor of the game as well.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Student athletes, you're free to go. Thank you. Questions for the coach?
Hey, Chris, you haven't had seasons like this much.
Yeah.
Usually been better. But is this how do you put this in context and looking at what could have been better and what can do going forward now?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I said the same thing to our staff. We haven't been in this situation, and to some people, 17 and 16 isn't the end of the world, but to me, that's it's not good enough. And we've had a lot of success. 20 wins first season, 23 second, 25 in the third, and we had high expectations for this year. We had just a lot of just weird stuff happen within our season, from injuries, the guys missing games. So there'll be a lot of self-reflection, and this starts, with me, and I'll evaluate everything within our program. We're going to learn a lot, about this year and respond the right way. I coach for the good and the bad, and I think that's super important. There's always something to learn. There's always something to teach and grow and move on to. But I can certainly tell you that we'll be in a much better position this time next year.
Chris, probably one of the biggest factors this season for you guys was game-to-game consistency. What ultimately were some of the biggest inhibitors in trying to establish identity on a consistent basis?
Yeah, we were just way too volatile in a lot of areas. In a lot of the areas that I say are separators in the games. You know, when we rebound at a high rate, we have generally had really good success since I've been here, you know, as a head coach. But we've had games where we've smashed teams on the glass, and then we've had games where we've gotten obliterated. We need to be more consistent in the margins. And to me, those are kind of the areas that separate. When you're in a really good league with great coaches, you have to win within the margins. And we just did not do that enough to what my level of expectation is this year.
We mentioned the challenges all the time that players kind of face. What's kind of the biggest challenge that you and your staff face in internalizing the season for what it was and then eventually trying to get back to where you guys have been?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot to learn from. We will evaluate everything. I think that's the natural and the healthy thing to do when your season ends is, you know, you have to have some self-reflection. You have to see the overall high-arching kind of themes of things that we hang our hats on as a program and evaluate if we met that. And there'll be some things that we need to clearly get better at as a group. I don't know what the future holds in terms of the guys in our locker room. You know, there'll be some conversations here I would anticipate in the week ahead. And, you know, we'll build a team that is going to be about the right stuff, you know, as we move forward.
Any more questions? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.